has happened since the first one, right, Joe? Right?
Yeah. Yeah, like I built this
Uh,
house over here.
well, I'm not talking about that, but like, I mean, I guess like that, but
No,
like,
yeah, I know.
the Anthem beta came out, the Division 2 beta came out. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we played the Division 2 beta, together, and besides the bugs and all that, especially because it's like fucking beta form, what do you think of it?
I think it's, uh, I think I enjoyed the beta, and if that's what 2 is, I will enjoy 2. I feel like it may not be as good as 1 was. Um,
Well, yeah, because of I guess the nostalgia factor,
well,
but
no, it's more of like I don't want to say the game's choppy because it didn't necessarily feel choppy, but the first one felt so smooth and 1080p and like
well, like we had when me and Brandon when we played the private beta, because we were the only ones in the group that played the private beta the first time around with the first game, and goddamn,
yeah,
there were so many issues with the first one. I fell through the floor and I went all the way down, like through the map. I was falling endlessly. That was a big bug in the game that pissed me off. And not only did it happen in a private beta, but also in the public beta. But now I like the winter scene. It was a bit different. I liked it.
yeah.
You could kind of go for more stealthier approaches and ambushes. Can't crouch though. I think that's a big downside.
Yeah,
So you can't crouch.
agreed.
I don't mind like not like laying down like prone is all right, but I would like I could live without that. But it's a
Well,
crouching,
it's
you
just the
know.
game. You have to use cover, and it's annoying
Yeah, the
because
cover to
there's
cover. Yeah.
there's certain times where you just don't have cover, or you're tired of literally just like leapfrogging it. Like you want to just
hmm
you know be in cover already or be behind something. So
Um. So when you're hopping over cover, there's a new animation that I like, and it's pretty smooth. Um. It's very distinct from the previous installment. Because the like this year's game feels a bit smoother in a way, like the movement.
oh yeah, I agree on
Compared
the
compared
movement.
to the first one is more tankish, more heavy. I mean, I guess I get it because heavy clothing, wintertime, if that was their intention. But like, it just feels smoother and like the hop over animation, like he puts the one gun in his hand and as he's hopping over, and
Well, did you see
and
the
then he uses his other hand for leverage, which I thought was a pretty neat detail. I can't remember if it was in the first one or not. I don't think it was, but
I want to download it to play it again to try it out, but I'm not gonna do it. Like I'd rather do a group, like with the group. I don't want to play missions
the see
like
what
solo.
killed the first one was the Dark Zone. Was like,
Yeah,
hey, the best loot is in the Dark Zone. That was the message I got. Like the vibe, per se.
yeah, and I mean, I probably could have had a little bit more fun on my own if I had the DLCs, but I wasn't. I wasn't putting the money down. I don't want to say it was a waste to buy it, but I wasn't going to.
Right, right, right.
One of
Understandable.
one of the things I did notice in this beta when I looked at options, I didn't mess with it, but there's like a parkour mode in the settings, and I would assume what that is that instead of you having to manually hit the buttons to go into cover or to hop over cover, it's a automatic thing when you move towards it. somehow.
Mm.
I would assume. I could be very wrong about that. Um, if it's not that, I kind of want to check that out, cause
Yeah, for sure. A lot of like not new gadgets, but abilities in the new game as well. I don't know if you saw like what they are, but there's a drone now. Like it's
yeah,
kind of like a fucking Amazon drone. That's
yeah,
what I'm gonna fucking call it.
it looks really powerful.
Um, Here's the thing though, like the mods are different now. Um, per se. Hold on, let me drink this. Um, like the one I was using, it was for shields, and I could send it using because on my end, it's left bumper for me or L1.
Hmm.
So I would just hit L1 to set like to either heal myself or heal you guys, shield wise. And I thought that was pretty neat that I could aid you guys with armor from afar. And I feel like
Yeah.
since Brandon's more or less the medic
Hashtag
player of
Doc.
the group, um, since he's more of the medic, I have a feeling he might run the Pulse Skinner, the first installment, and then probably
Yeah.
the drone.
Yeah, because I
Um,
enjoyed the pulse scanner a lot. Um,
yeah,
you know, that that helped out so much.
yeah, and then um, there's a bunch of different abilities now um, that pique my interest, and I have a feeling like they did that to add more diversity to the player fan base. So it's not just everyone's gonna run scanner and that one like the ability that
Yeah.
heals without
Yeah.
using a med kit. You know what
Right,
I'm
I
saying?
remember that. Yes. Yeah, it's good to switch. I
You
mean, that's
it was like a noob tube but of health,
well,
and you
that's
could
what
use it on yourself.
yeah, yeah, it was like the how you could run Doc in Siege. How you could just like shoot yourself
Right.
up.
Yeah, or shoot up others. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, Call
And
of
then
Duty
there's a
did
mod
that
that
this year.
was. Did they? Oh, I
They
mean,
w-
yeah.
well
I
they
guess they did.
well they no, not I mean not just multiplayer, but for zombies they took out like their sleight of hand and their juggernaut perks and all that stuff, and people were pissed off and they're like, why would you take out the best perks in the game? And they said that's because you would only get those ones and you'd never like they looked and nobody was trying anything else. They would just go for the same 3 4 perks, and they all the other ones were basically a waste of time. So they took out those top tier perks so that they could get a little bit of shine on the rest of them. And I mean, it worked. I don't think anyone's complaining anymore about those perks being out of the game.
Mm-mm.
So
Speaking of first-person shooters, um, so EA is reporting that Battlefield 5's not doing very hot. Actually, that's kind of been in the news recently. Um, Actually, I could pull up the report on my phone here. Give me a second.
I think a lot of the downside to that is that people didn't get that battle royale yet.
Here we go. I got it right here. Battlefield 1 player base nearly at 4 million monthly active users, 4 nearly 2 million according to EA. Um, so 5's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Um, I think, and they're saying that Battlefield 5 sales have underperformed. Um, and I think that's because yes, there's no battle. EA's saying it's because there's no battle royale yet. That's EA's excuse. But personally, I I don't think that's what's the big issue here. Um,
Well, to
I
them,
know I know you like 4 a lot, and I don't have a problem with 4. I don't. I liked 4, but the reason why 4 became so popular was because of the constant like updates on DLC, new maps, new guns,
yeah.
you know,
Well, they
and
did.
they're kind of not doing that this year. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
with
Like they
well with
haven't
four,
said anything.
with four at the beginning, for my God, four was awful. I mean, so many bugs months into the game's life cycle still. Spawning in with no weapon, uh, no audio even sometimes. I'm a casual player, so to me, I didn't get too upset, but that was so bad.
Now,
And
when you say casual player, what do you mean by that? Like you play a lot of it, right?
yeah, well, the amount I played was, I played a lot of Battlefield, but I mean at the mindset, I wasn't super competitive. I wasn't trying really, really hard to have great statistics. I wasn't trying super hard. I just wanted to kind of like, use a sniper rifle, occasionally
Right.
dick around, throw C4 on the bike and fucking blow up and get shot out to the moon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have clips of those. Yeah.
Yes, we do. Um, but I wasn't demanding. I wasn't looking for a game that had to have perfect anything, and the game had its flaws, which were a lot. But they fixed it over time. They switched things around, and they did a lot of updates. Of course, they did their regular weapon balancing. So it was not only tolerable at the end of the day, but it felt so good. It felt finished. Uh, and I think I gave them that long to work on it because I could see that it mattered and everything was getting done pretty well.
Hmm.
But it was also modern. Everything felt strong compared to Battlefield 1 and Battlefield uh 5.
5.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, we forgot Hardline existed. I forget Hardline exists.
Well, see, yeah. Even EA. I mean, they didn't say how many active users are on Hardline, but I
Yeah.
would assume it's probably at least 1 million. I'm sure in those numbers, it's probably like 1 million or something like amongst those lines.
And that's
Not a
good
lot,
for
but enough to keep it alive. You
well,
know what I'm
that's
saying?
good for us. For us, a million people's a fuck ton. And I mean, hey, like yeah, exactly, a million's a million. But I mean, that one came out after. It didn't come
That
out
one
after
came after.
one, right?
No, it was after 4, but I think 2 years before 2 to 3 years before 1.
Right. Eesh. It's just, and I've already
One
told you, like, go ahead.
like one's like okay, so we know EA and Activision or fucking Battlefield and Call of Duty, they compete against one another, no doubt.
Yeah.
Those are the two top games. It's like EA competing against itself between FIFA. Those are their babies,
Yeah.
kind of deal. Call of Duty and Battlefield, it's like the Green Bay Packers rivalry with the Chicago Bears. You know,
Yeah, it's
um,
big.
it's a big. You both have big fan bases, player bases, whatever. And I think when one was announced at E3, when they had that theme song or that song
Oh
by the
yeah,
White
the Seven
Stripes,
Nations
Seven Nation.
Army.
Yeah, that's when Call of Duty came out with what? Infinite Warfare.
Um, I don't think so. No,
Like,
World War
no,
Two.
no, no. No. It was Infinite Warfare, and then the next year was World War II.
Was it?
It
Okay.
was Infinite War. Yes,
Yeah.
because fucking Infinite Warfare became the most disliked video on YouTube
Yeah,
in
yeah,
history.
you're right. Yeah.
And they included the pre-order bonus. If
The
you
Call of Duty
pre-ordered the game,
4.
you get, yeah, the
Yeah,
remastered.
I
Yeah.
I was one of those pieces of shit that bought it. And I gotta say that was probably more than half of the player base that decided to get that.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, they knew that. They knew that because initially you had to buy the game as a. First of all, it was strictly a pre-order bonus. You couldn't buy it uh, after it was released for a little bit. I want to say I could be wrong about that. Actually, no, I am wrong. I think you could still buy it right off the shelf with it, but you had to buy that special edition. It was $20 extra, so you had to pay $80 to get Call of Duty 4 remastered. And for those that bought it on disc, you had to have, like I bought it on disc, you had to have Infinite Warfare's disc in your system, and you had to have Infinite Warfare installed in order to play Call of Duty 4. You couldn't even uninstall Infinite Warfare. So you're wasting an extra 60 to 70 gigs, uh, and you have to have the disc in there at all times just to play COD 4.
Mhm.
For them, literally like 2 months later, to say, hey, here's COD 4 for $40, which is $20 more than you were basically paying for it. But here's a $40 game all on its own, and you don't have to have anything else. That was a huge fuck you. So I would have loved to have bought that. I would have paid $60 for it instead of 40 if they weren't assholes about it. But unfortunately, they knew their game was gonna knew Infinite Warfare was gonna suck.
Yeah. And wood. Excuse me. But Battlefield 1 had a great launch though. Especially with the Seven Nation Army, it really caught people's attention, and
Yeah.
especially no one had done World War One properly before.
No, it was a good take on it.
It was a good take. Guns were a little bit repetitive, but understandable because history would have that would have been history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well,
It's hard though too, because you know there's so many weapons back then that so many people don't even know exist. But the players want what they want, and I feel like if you give us a bunch of weapons that we haven't seen before, as cool as it is to have new stuff, everyone's always going to be like, well, when are we getting this gun, and when are we getting the big popular ones, and you just can't win with that.
no, and I think what also killed it was it. So let me think here. Okay, so Battlefield is known for its classic conquest mode. Conquest and Rush. The big two modes of Battlefield. That's what put Battlefield on the map essentially. For those two modes. And so Battlefield 3 was perfect. It was the perfect balance between you could either run and gun it or you could play with teammates tactically.
Yeah.
And 4 kind of tip the balance a bit. Hey, you could run and gun a bit more on your own, but also play with teammates tactically. And like that balance with 1 and then now with 5, it's getting lower and lower
Yeah,
to
and
the whole run and gun aspect. And I think the whole team play is what really brought Battlefield to its forefront because guys were like, that this is a great fucking team game. Why don't we just stick to this from now on? You know,
exactly. I mean, for
and
I
that's
started
that's
playing
why I
3.
played it was the like that's why I like loved it. It was team like in 3 especially when you had quote unquote clan games. Like you had to play tactically to win.
the that game I played 3 with you guys on last gen, and
Right.
I was like, wow. I mean, I love Call of Duty, but this is different, and it's really fun. And I was able to
Mhm.
play 3 on my own a little bit. I enjoyed it on my own, but it was way better with friends. And connectivity to friends was, I mean, it was okay. I didn't play for too long, but uh,
Yeah, you hopped in right before 4 came out.
yeah. So I didn't get a lot of time to play it, but I knew I enjoyed it more when I had a squad. And 4 was, like I said, 4 off the bat was just just like going haywire, but it had everything that I wanted out of a Battlefield game. You had the training
What,
yard where
4?
yeah,
Okay.
you had the training yard, so that you could practice your weaponry. You had squad joints so that you could just easily get together with your buddies. Uh, the private servers were pretty cool with the options. The game in general just had a lot. They had a lot of customization options for your options menu.
Mhm.
Call of Duty's
They had
never.
a lot more guns and equipment than 3 did.
Yeah, and much more than most games have ever. There's more assault rifles in there than like their assault rifle list in 4 after all the DLCs came out was bigger than half of Call of Duty's guns in most games.
Mhm.
And so it was crazy, and I loved 4. The maps were pretty nice. The guns felt not overpowered to each other. I feel like they were pretty well balanced, but they felt strong. You felt confident with your gun, as opposed to the new ones where I feel like I'm shooting Nerf guns. Their options are great. Their sensitivities got like 30 options. Your heads up display, all the things. Your field of view. That's big to me. But a lot of cool stuff. But overall, the game, I just feel like it's not so appetizing. So there's a lot to that. But I don't know. I
Um, go
feels
for it.
weird. Feels
This sniping is super satisfying now. That's one thing I will give them credit for doing pretty well with between 1 and 5. Like in all, like not just those games, but like that's one thing that or Dice, I should say, has done always well, and that's the sniping. It's not like Call of Duty where you could quick scope.
yeah. No, I will say that uh I loved sniping in 4. Loved it.
It
I
was it
got
was it was easy in 4 though. Let's be real, because of
Oh
the whole
yeah.
zeroing distance,
Oh no,
and
you could
especially if you had the best setup I think was the
a rangefinder.
depending on your gun, the rangefinder, the flash hider, in either bolt action or not bolt action, but bipod or straight pull, depending on your gun, with either 8, 20, or 40 times scope. Those were
Yep.
the best scopes.
No,
Those three right there.
I'd have to say that between the Gold Magnum and the SRR, right? The SRR. Yeah, the SR.
Hmm.
Yeah. Between those two, you're right. The flash hider. Uh, I usually I didn't run rangefinder because I ended up taking that slot with something else. I don't remember what it was. Maybe variable zoom or something.
It would have been variable zoom
Then
or laser sight. The
yeah,
others were pointless.
I usually ran either an 8 times in a 14 or like a 40 in a 14 or something along those lines. But yeah, it was a lot easier. But the guns, they had a higher velocity. To me, they felt stronger and more accurate. When I got into Battlefield 1, I was like, oh my god, this feels. And 5 is a huge improvement to me on sniping compared to 1. But they they didn't feel satisfying enough for me as a sniper. Five was close. I enjoyed sniping a little bit on 5. Uh, the difference though was that was the only thing I enjoyed on 5. I hated the guns. Because for one, half the guns were repetitive from Battlefield 1. That I did not like. And I didn't. I mean, you know how much I like sniping. So I was excited for that. And in 5, it's nice. I'd pay $5 to $10, shit, maybe even $20 for a sniper-only game of Battlefield, I guess. But I wouldn't pay $60 for what that full game is, because it's just not there for me. Not like 4 was. So, but I hope they fix it. I hope they end up fixing 5 around a little bit. But
I think what everyone wants is another modern style game, like Battlefield 4 and 3, especially 3 and 4.
I definitely want one. I mean, I'll even let DICE take, because even though I don't really care for 1 and I don't care for 5, it's by standards. You know what I mean? Like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, horrible Call of Duty game. But as a game, if you branch it off away from that and you put it just in a category, like in a unknown category, it's not so bad. You know, it's got good graphics, it's got a lot of crazy shit, but compared to what they are, you know, compared to other Call of Duties, it sucks ass. So Battlefield as games are incredible. Their graphics, their game mechanics. Don't die on me now.
Excuse me. Oh. But no, I see what you're saying. Like, the bar is pretty high with Battlefield standards, considering the past games. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. So, I enjoy. If you told me I was stuck in a room and I had to play Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5, I'd be like, sweet. You know, if that was the only game I got to play, well, fuck, it could have been way worse, because that's not a bad game. But if you gave me the option to play even Hardline over, you know, Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 5, I'd be like, thank God. So, that just...
Hardline wasn't bad.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit because of the license transfer I had with Anthony. Bad, because I feel like that game was underrated.
It was. The campaign was really well, though. The campaign was very well written. Did you play the campaign at all?
I think I played a mission or 2, but I ended up having to delete it for space for one of our other games, so I didn't have too long on it, because me and you were also going to play that, and we had other shit that we were playing.
I think we got some footage of us playing. I'm pretty sure we do.
No, we do. We had a few games. I think we may have even got one of the other boys on, but I know we played a little bit for sure, because we played on that. We did play for a little bit.
Yeah, we played on the skyscraper map.
The skyscraper map.
The LA. It was downtown LA.
Yeah, we played there, and I want to say we played a game in the forest area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then I think Hollywood Heights was another one too that we played together.
I don't remember the name.
It was an infantry-based map, except one helo that spawned at the mansion in the back there.
Oh God, I love Dr. Pepper. Sponsored by Dr. Pepper. I mean, not actually sponsored. I wish. But no, like, I enjoyed 5. You know, like I said, these games on their own are fun, I guess. But when you compare it to the other stuff that they've already put out, it's hard to want to play it.
Agreed. I like 5. I'm already max level on it at 50 currently. Um, I think what's killing it now it's the lack of new maps and new guns.
I'd have to say when I played it that I was really disappointed with the guns. Not how they shot necessarily. I feel like they
No, but
beefed them up.
the less the I mean I get it. Like I know why they're holding back. I'm like this not the Springfield because the Springfield in the game yet? No, it isn't. Lee Enfield is.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, the Lee Enfield's in there.
but the Springfield sniper rifle ain't. I don't think at least, unless it's in there and I haven't paid attention. But the M1 Grand classic World War II gun. You know they got the Thompson in there. They do, and they don't have the PPSH yet. The Russian
Yeah.
what LMG or assault rifle?
Submachine gun.
Is it a sub? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. should should be classified as an AR, but yeah. But you're what? Probably for DLC?
Yeah, so the reason why they're holding back is they got a plan to keep their player base coming back. Is like, hey, we're gonna release, weapon, not necessarily weapon packs, but just DLC in general that will allow it to, so players keep coming back. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's probably what they're doing. Although I think it's backwards. And I mean, we know now because the game's already been released. I don't want to seem like I knew this, but I I feel like we just had one, and one had, if you liked one, if you enjoyed one and you played one, then I'm sure you're gonna love 5 compared to just the style. But
Right.
but the thing is, it's like maybe now that it's out, now that we do have opinions, I feel like you should have gave us the guns you're holding out on first. Because a lot of the people don't want a repeat of one. They want new shit. They want new maps. They want new guns. They want to be excited.
Yeah, and like the lack of, let's say, the battle of, like the island hopping, Iwo Jima, you know. Then you also have the battle of the Bulge, was it? The Battle of the Bridge Bulge for the on up in Europe, which was Germany's last stand before they surrendered in the war.
Yeah.
They have D-Day, they have Pearl Harbor. They could do. They have a bunch of like World War II. There's so many battles that they could bring to the table, and the fact that they haven't done it yet since what, October, September ish.
Yeah, because the thing with one that was crazy is one had the trailer. One said, "Hey, look in this direction. We're gonna do some crazy shit." And I mean, you could say it did or didn't deliver, however you want to do, but you had so many people excited and waiting because 4 ended up finishing great, and people were excited for a new big thing in 1. But that's gone in 5 because, and we've talked about this before, but World War II is that's my favorite time. I'd love to pick up a gun from World War II.
Same here.
But as far as the game goes, it was primarily all guns from the previous game. And I was like, alright. Like, that's okay. But look, I'm turned off to the game now. If they add some cool shit, I might come back. But
if they would have waited like 1 month and then released new guns, like say they released 2 guns a month, that would keep a pretty good you know, player fan base, kept. Maybe like for the first week you throw in a new uniform that everyone gets for free, or they have to work for it, via the credit or the currency that you earn, or so you alternate weeks, so you bring out a new uniform or something cosmetic wise, tank look,
Yeah,
airplane look,
some
something.
stylized
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, a vanity item. Vanity is like just uh,
I get you.
yeah. And then you follow it up with weapon. That way you get your fan base used to the system so that you could potentially take a small break in, let's say, all right, guys, like we gave you two weapons and two new uniforms for both the Axis and Allies, like
Hmm.
one each, and so they would have done that the month of September or October, whichever, and then they could have just hold up. They could have just held off for the entire month of December, and then once Christmas got finished up, for within the first week of January, boom, you release another vanity item, you know,
Hmm.
and you continue to do that, like do it for 3 months, take a month off.
I mean, I'm the content, the amount of time that the content comes in and out, like how much they put in at certain times.
Hmm.
I would prefer it be like that. But if it's good, you can come out with shit later on. I mean, like for instance, Call of Duty comes out with a Call of Duty every year. It's awesome. But if the game you gave
It's
us is,
awesome that they get a new game a year, every year.
yeah, like it's cool to have new shit each year, but if a game's great, like Battlefield 4 is great. We played Battlefield 4. I mean, we
Hmm.
still kind of sometimes will play Battlefield 4 because it's a good game. Uh, now it's a little run dry, but we played that for a while.
Hmm.
If the game's good, we'll play it forever. So we don't need one every year. Like Call of Duty puts one out every year. I could wait. I like Black Ops 4. I'll play Black Ops 4 for a whole
Well,
ass
they
another year.
waited a year before five. If one came out, it was out for a whole year, and then they released five. That
But
was that was the deal.
but I mean, what I'm saying is like if the game's good, if the quality's there, I'll wait.
Like the replay value.
Yeah, like you don't have to come out for me, you don't have to come out with new shit all the time really frequently.
Hmm.
I prefer it that way. I mean, I prefer it that we get, a gun or two and a map or two. I think Call of Duty's doing that this year with their season pass holders. They came out with only two maps and some other shit, which is like half of what they come out with. But I think that's because they're already about to release an additional two maps. So they're spreading it out, which is good. I'm cool with that. But I feel like just at launch there just wasn't a lot there. There's just not there gun wise and stuff. Like I want to earn some shit that I haven't used before, and I want to play on some maps that I'm not sick and tired of repeating. And
Hmm.
and in both of the shooters this year, Call of Duty had like almost no good new maps, like at all. And Battlefield had, I feel like, a lower amount of maps. Am I right? Like it had like what, like very few
I,
maps to start
I,
off
I,
with.
I think there's 12 maps total, which sounds like a lot, but the rotation sucks.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like it's just like I feel like they downgraded a little bit. Uh,
See, the saying, fondness makes the heart grow stronger.
yeah.
I think Because the one game that every diehard Battlefield fan wants is Bad Company 3.
Yeah,
The last Bad Company game that was out was back in what, 07, 08
I didn't
time?
play it. Unfortunately, I did not
It
play it.
was it was like when they first introduced squad-based games, like with Conquest and all that.
Yeah, I feel like Bad Company 2 was the Call of Duty 4 of the franchise, like where it was like, all right, 1, 2, and 3 were whatever the shooter games. Holy fuck, look at this. Like, I mean, you are the Battlefield guy, and
It
I'm the
came
Call of Duty guy.
it came out the same year MW2 came out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I think Modern Warfare 2 was like what, 2010, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it came out the same year.
Okay. Wow.
Because in the campaign, so in like the first mission that you're not soap in MW2, you're up in the snow mountains and then you escape on snowmobiles, right?
Yes, I loved that one.
You go through a whole like Russian airport or like not an airport but a secret military base.
Yeah, no. Oh my god, I missed the campaign. But yeah.
Um, there was a comment made by one of like quote unquote the characters of Bad Company that that they were like, why didn't we drive snowmobiles? And the guy goes, only sissies ride snowmobiles. It was pretty funny. You could YouTube it. It's pretty funny.
Let me see what you're doing. I like that. I mean, that's funny to intercross with the games like that.
Mhm.
See what you're doing. What are you making? Water lighting?
No, just like sunlighting, I guess.
How are you? Are you double painting it? Oh, okay. That looks cool. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
At first I looked over and I'm like, no, he's taking layers out of the pool. but but this is cool as fuck. I really don't give a shit about the pool. This looks fantastic.
Mhm. And it's the same length and width of.
Yeah, like I'm lights in here and I hate using lights. I hate using a lot of lights.
Mhm.
This looks good down here. But it's just like it's such a it wasn't like it was good the first few months and then they took a few months like you were saying, like if they would have taken a break, that would have been good. Like if we had the content and we were satisfied. But I was not satisfied. I was looking at that game like, all right, your maps are okay. Your maps are fine. But I've been playing the same 3 or 4 forever.
Mhm. The rotation
And
is absolutely atrocious.
right, and the guns weren't bad, but we just got done playing a game for an entire like year and a half with these guns. Where are the new guns? And I also happen to prefer Battlefield 4. Felt better. So
Mhm.
not only is it kind of lackluster to me, but I also have a better thing to go play, in my opinion. And that's what sucks. Because you want the next one to be better all the time, and it didn't feel that. So I'd rather hold up M1 Grands and Mosin Nagants and PPS H41s than M16s and M40s. So I'm rooting for 5. I would way rather have a phenomenal World War II game over a phenomenal modern shooter game. The only difference with the modern ones is that, there's probably more, you're not going to really see thermal sights in a World War II game. And you're probably not going to see too many rangefinders. But other than that, gameplay is, can be crazy. That too. That's the one thing I really got to give Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Cinematic wise, oh my
The
god,
graph
beats.
the graphics have gotten 10 times better. We
Yeah,
could agree on that.
and not even just the graphics, dude. You put on those headphones and you just watch somebody play Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, and it's like a IMAX movie. It's not, it's not just the graphics. What you would when you would play like Call of Duty, and you would watch a
Hmm.
trailer and you had all these dudes, you had squads linking up and explosions and somebody blowing up a helicopter and walking away from the fire and slow motion. That does not happen. But in Battlefield it does.
Well, it happens daily.
And yeah, in an
Happens almost every
average
second.
exactly in an average game of Battlefield 1 or
Mhm.
Battlefield 5, you have those things blowing up. And the audio presets, like I loved War Tapes. It just
Mhm.
sounded the game sound was incredible. Everything was there. You could just be like immersed into it, and I loved that. Uh, and they did keep that this year. It just it just doesn't it just doesn't do it for me. But oh my god, I could sit there and watch it all day. So props to them for that. And four was good. Four had great graphics. Four was crazy cinematics. I mean, you'd occasionally see some dude jump out of his jet, pull out a rocket, blow up some other dude's jet, and hop back in his jet before it hit the
That
ground.
was actually in 3.
Yeah, well, I've seen it done in four, but
Oh,
what?
4, yes, but 3. It happened first in 3.
Right. I did remember seeing one or two of those videos from three.
Just yeah, yeah, because EA actually used that as a marketing ploy as
Yeah,
well.
which
Like,
which
look at the shit you could do in Battlefield.
yeah.
Holy fuck!
No, and they're but that's the thing. They're right. You can do that. That'll happen. That's not like with Call of Duty with like Blackout. They were like, all right, you could have you know you're gonna have helicopters low to the ground and squads shooting at this dude, and this dude's gonna do some parkour shit and ram
Like, to
his.
me, that was like, to me, that was a turn off for me, because it was like, I, I got a game for that specifically, that I could just, if I die, I could just respawn. I got a game
Mhm.
like that. It's called Battlefield.
um, but yeah, I mean they're good. It's just I feel like Battlefield 5 needed. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't need really anything that Battlefield 4 had. I feel like it's its own game entirely. But first of
Yeah.
all, you gotta have squad join ready to go. Wasn't it Battlefield 1 that didn't even have squad join, or was it 5?
No, it was 1. They they fucked up the squad join in 1.
But
And that brings back to the point of, you don't need a squad to win a game anymore like you used to back in the day. Back in the days of both Battlefield 3 and 4. It's more or less, you know, how it's becoming the one thing that they swore not to become. And that's fucking almost like Call of Duty. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
well,
They're
well,
becoming
in,
the one thing they swore not to become.
well, in what way? I mean,
The running gunning
oh,
aspect.
well, I mean,
I mean, they have team deathmatch. I'm not saying team deathmatch is bad. Everyone has their cup of tea. Mine is fucking Conquest and Rush all day. Preferably Conquest.
but the player base from Battlefield was not, for a long time, was not the same player base as Call of Duty. It was. I feel like it was definitely one or the other. You know, I was
I
not.
see what you're saying. Either you play Call of Duty or you play Battlefield. I see that point. But you have guys who do play both. Like me, when Bad Company 2 came out, I played it a little bit, but man, I was in love with MW2.
Well, I don't just mean you only play one or the other, but I feel like if you decide, all right, I'm gonna play a racing game today, you know, you might pick between Forza or The Crew. I mean, if you have Xbox or whatever, but there's a decision factor on what you want to play. If you decide, okay, I want to play Battlefield 3 or I want to play Battlefield 4, you know, like that's a decision. I feel like if you,
I see what you're saying because like I have that question a lot. But what I ask myself is, do I want to play a long game or do I want to play a quick game?
right,
Quick game, I go on, hop on Call of Duty. Long games, I go to Battlefield.
yeah, they're different games. So, and I mean that as in they're exactly how you said it. It's you're not choosing, you know, you're not saying, oh, okay, I want to play a shooter, Call of Duty or Battlefield. It's like it's more in depth than that. It's like, all right, do I want to play a longer range strategic game? Uh, you know, do I want to use most of my time trying to win the game, or do I want to aggressively run and gun and try and get a new optic? So, you dying over there?
Yeah, give me a second. But continue talking.
Um, well, I'm looking at you through the glass. Because you have glass all over this fucking place.
God damn. Okay.
You might want to watch out though, because if you come up here for a second, come up to the regular
I'm still
landing
recovering.
space. Yeah. Oh shit, is this a new... Oh shit, we might be getting a new siege update soon. But if you look over, and you can build into this. I'm up a level.
God damn it.
Come here, fucker.
Where?
Right here.
Oh.
Look, if you look right here,
Mm-hmm.
there's a drop area. So you could build into this. Just be aware that this is here.
Okay.
But yeah. No, I mean, I hope they update it good. If they do, I'll definitely come back. Battlefield's made a good... you know, to me, they've made a good statement. Or not statement, but they left a good mark. So I'm willing to, you know, keep going back and giving them a little bit of time to see what their progression looks like. But I'm not feeling it this year. I'm not feeling it this year.
I mean, you know me, Joe. I'm a hardcore Battlefield guy, so
Yeah.
regardless, I'm gonna play Battlefield. It's all opinion. I don't give a fuck.
Well, I gave Battlefield 1 more chances to play than I did Infinite Warfare or Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare, I barely fucking touched. I was like, fuck you, game. I didn't even want to buy it. I honestly didn't.
Honestly, I think what helped the success of that game was because of the shit job that the other one was. You know what I'm saying?
What, the prior game?
I'm saying one did so well because Infinite Warfare was shit. And Advanced Warfare was shit.
Agreed. I think they had a lot. The thing, though, too, that you gotta remember is that people already knew they didn't want Infinite Warfare. Because they had Advanced Warfare. Because if you remember when we got Advanced Warfare, we were excited. Well, maybe not you, but a lot of people were excited. It was futuristic Call of Duty. You got to do all kinds of jumping and parkour and shit. But then we found out it wasn't so smooth. It wasn't all that great. Then we found out that Black Ops was doing it. And we were like, no, not 2 years in a row. And
Well, I mean, Black Ops was already headed in that direction, regardless.
well, unfortunately, so was Infinity Ward. Infinity Ward had already decided what game they were doing when all the games, they basically collectively decided that they were all going to do it. That's why it ended up being 3 years in a row, because they already started on the project and they all just figured they'd get their take on it at the same time. But, Advanced Warfare, first of all, Advanced Warfare was made by not a new set of guys, but they ran their own company, but it was their first Call of Duty game. So I gotta say, for them to make their first Call of Duty game, they did good by a video game standard, not a Call of Duty standard. As a video game, not the worst. As a Call of Duty game, sucked. So that sucked ass. And then Black Ops made it, and I feel like Black Ops did way, way, way better. If Black Ops would have been the first futuristic game, I feel like it wouldn't have been so bad. But it came out, people still played it, but they were like, oh my god, we're so tired of this. What do we got this year? And Infinite Warfare was like, yeah, we're not listening. Like, we're gonna come out with another one. But I think that was trying to be their helping hand, is they knew we didn't want it, but they were already gonna do it, so they said, hey, you know what? Because we're pretty much fucking you guys over this year, we'll give you COD 4. That was the saving grace. I would have never bought Infinite Warfare, and that was before I didn't have a license thing with Anthony, so I was buying the game, and I would have never ever bought Infinite Warfare in a million years if I had a choice.
Right.
So, my god, that was an awful game. So, and it was too. Like, Black Ops to me was the best one. Black Ops took the movement that Advanced Warfare was doing.
Black Ops 3 was good.
Yeah.
I liked. I mean, it was all right. It wasn't as good as 2 and 1.
No.
Like, because 2, like the sequel, depending on the developer, is usually always the best game out of like the series of games. Because the first one, you're like, okay, they're setting up the story, and the second one's usually more impactful and more action.
Well, it's like that in movies too, I feel like. I feel like a lot of the sequels, yeah, that's what the good companies do. They say, all right, we made this worked out. People really liked this part, and they really liked this. Let's try and beat those up.
Right. So Black Ops 3 did pretty well comparing on how successful Black Ops 2 was. I feel like I feel like it was a pretty good game, you know.
Yeah, Black Ops 2 was. I mean, I prefer Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty 4 the most, but yeah, Black Ops was incredible. Black Ops 2, I mean, was just the shit. I spent a lot of money on Black Ops 2. Are you there?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you're there. No, I didn't. It got like incredibly quiet through my headset, like almost like there was no sound, and I'm like, uh-oh. But no, like Modern Warfare 2, I didn't put a lot of money into at all, actually.
That's why MW3 did so terrible. It's because look at the second game of the series. It was MW2. MW2 was the best one, campaign-wise and multiplayer-wise.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they had two good games. I mean, COD 4 was the
COD 4 set the bar. Or MW2 raised it, and MW3 barely just touched the tips of it.
Yeah, and And I liked.
That's what happened with the Black Ops. Black Ops 1. Hold on. Been an hour already. But Black Ops 1, set the bar. Black Ops 2 raised it, and 3, just got the tips of it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and I don't want to say 3 was bad, but it
I,
wasn't
I,
Modern
I
Warfare
actually
2.
enjoyed the campaign. It
Yeah,
was decent, especially with the guy from SCV SUV or SVU.
that wasn't
Can't
no,
talk
that
today.
wasn't 3. That was Black Ops.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Right, right. Okay. Okay, I thought we were talking Modern
you're
Warfare.
talking about 1-3, and I'm talking about another 3.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
But it was a good game. Multiplayer was all right.
Yeah, multiplayer. I preferred multiplayer over the campaign in most games, just because you expect the campaign to not really have longevity like multiplayer will.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
but
I mean multiplayer, but also typically what I do is I play the campaign first, and then I go into multiplayer.
that's what I do because I get it. I get the campaign out of the way. I see what it has, and then I go start grinding on multiplayer.
Hmm.
Um,
People don't even. Some people don't even touch campaign. That's why they took campaign completely out of this year's
mm-hmm.
Black Ops.
Yep. Well, for me, I enjoyed the Modern Warfare campaigns more, but the customization and the new ideas that came into the Black Ops campaigns were way
Hmm.
better. Um, I mean, you started naming missions from Modern Warfare 2, and I got chills. Uh, Not to mention the Spec Ops missions that they had too they were the best. I mean, the most fun missions I've ever had in games probably. Especially when you could do like the co-op. Those were great. But
Hmm.
there also was no customization. You basically got a gun and a secondary, and that was what you had to use. And sometimes it was terrifying because you just couldn't pick up a good weapon even off the ground. And that was it. It was just mission to mission to mission, the end. But with Black Ops, they gave you a lot of. I don't remember Black Ops 1 as much doing this, but they did give you some good guns. Black Ops 2, you got to have create a class in the
Hmm.
campaign. You got to pick exactly what you ran with in the game, and I thought that was awesome. Black Ops 3, you got to do the same thing, but you had so much more. You had like a headquarters that you could walk around and do all that shit in, and uh, I don't know if you did it, but there was like simulator training courses and
On 3.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was really cool. And when it comes to the new ideas, Black Ops on it. Black Ops is fucking fantastic. I think if I know it wouldn't, but I think if the some of the people who make Black Ops teamed up with some of the people who make Battlefield, that would be the best game ever. So, like the people that made this game, that Apex game,
Hmm.
a few of those
They made
guys
Titanfall.
they helped make Titanfall, but some of those guys from Respawn also were the pioneers that made the original Modern Warfare.
Hmm.
They were the initial developers. They left after 4. They didn't even get to work on 2. I think they were fired. But they were like the head of, they were like the main ones responsible for 4. In a world where the best ones prior were like 3. And I mean, no discredit, I guess, to 3. I didn't play it all too much, but you know, it was World War II and it was whatever. I mean, a few years prior, you couldn't even sprint in the game. But Call of Duty 4 said, yeah, you're going to sprint, you're going to jump. Here's create a class. That's a thing. Here's DLC maps. Here's a fucking 3-hour campaign. You know, here's a lot of fun shit. So those guys are great. And I'm thankful as fuck for those guys. But I love Battlefield, and people from Black Ops just keep coming up with new reasons to make me go back to the game. So I feel like if you take the good parts of Black Ops and you fuse those with maybe some Battlefield guys, oh, it's like you with dry rub and pot or something. It's like it's like a symphony. But it is though. I feel like that would be incredible. I mean, and all these games that we're talking about are just awesome.
Did you play the fuck? What's that game that just
Apex.
No, not Apex. The BioWare game.
The BioWare game. I don't know.
Anthem.
Oh,
Anthem.
right.
Did you try that beta or no?
I did. I enjoyed it.
What do you think of that? Like, give me your thoughts.
I think it could use some polishing. Honestly, the initial thoughts that come into my head, because I could probably side, like, you know, kind of like step around it. The flight needs a huge fix. It feels choppy to me.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like I'm playing, wait, what the hell? Why is there a white border? Okay, whatever. But I feel like the flight needs an upgrade. Feels like I'm playing Iron Man on PS2. Other than that, it's feeling pretty good. When I walked into those worlds, I was wowed. I was like, oh my god, there's some, you know, beautiful shit to look at here. You know, a lot of good stuff. Shooting felt great. Abilities were cool. So I'm excited for it. That's a game I'm looking forward to playing. Just some minor tweaks here and there.
I'm gonna buy it. I'm a big fan of BioWare. They made
Crysis, right?
No,
Or
no.
that's wait. What game am I thinking of that made the Crysis series? The people who made Crysis made something. Let me check my PlayStation. I think I have. I don't know what it is.
The ones that made Mass Effect and Dragon Age.
Oh, okay.
Some of my favorite all-time like campaign, like just straight campaign games, single-player games. I gotta support them, you know.
No, I definitely agree. I would back up the people that make my games like that. I really want to know what the fuck that game was. What was it? There's the people that make. It's the people that make the Crysis games. Oh, it was that one game that came out. The one we played right before Black Ops. It was the free-to-play one. Warface.
Warface.
Yeah, that's the developers of Crysis. And I owned Crysis 3 on PlayStation 3, and I liked it. But yeah, I'm really, really hoping that Hasbro, please get the right fucking people. But I want them to make another Transformers game. And a good one, please. Like, it's just... I need a good story-only game. And unfortunately, everyone wants battle royale and open world games. That's all they want. So there's a lot of open world, and I'm not saying they're not good, but we like options, and I feel like we're running out of options. So Call of Duty battle royale mostly. Fucking Fortnite battle royale. Warface eventually got battle royale. Battlefield's working on it. You got this game that just came out, which I mean Apex. I like Apex a lot, so that's good. But so many battle royale games, and it takes away from Battlefield even. I mean, I love Conquest. Conquest is like nobody's bothering with it. They all want battle royale. So it's either and not to discredit, I know you like your Assassin's Creed games, but Assassin's Creed open world, right? Doesn't Andromeda also have open world, or am I lying?
Mass Effect Andromeda?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was open world, yeah.
Okay, open world. No Man's Sky, open world. Uh, what are some of those other ones too? Anthem will be open world.
Yes.
Uh,
Division.
Division, open world. Smaller open world, and I think that's probably the best thing for it. uh, but yeah, that one. I played The Witcher. I got exhausted from The Witcher because, I mean, I know it's a long, these games have stories, but it's just like, like I'll get to it when I get there.
God of War.
Yeah, God of War. I think my broadcast is about to end because the internet's not sufficient, but um,
I'm
yeah,
still recording.
yeah, yeah. As long as one of us has it, that's fine.
Uh-huh.
But what's it called? Just a lot of open world, which is great, but I feel like they're relying on these things to be good. They're relying on that the open world's going to be the best part of the game and that the battle royale is going to be the best part of the game. No, strive for better. Do how cars do it. Bugatti came out with a car that was really fast and really expensive and really nice, and then McLaren came out with a car that they thought was better, and then Ferrari came out with something better than McLaren, and they're trying to top each other and give us, better, like as much as they can. And these games, I feel like someone's like, "Oh, you want a McLaren?" And Ferrari's like, "All right, we got to make a McLaren." You know what I mean? Like they're not thinking, "Hey, let's make a new Ferrari that's better than the McLaren. Let's just give them the McLaren." Like, no.
Whatever it is, man, to sell money, man. Just think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, but make new shit.
You know who made Fortnite? The same people who made Gears of War. Epic Games. They went from single slash multiplayer game to making fucking cancer.
Jesus. But that's new for them. They went completely off the rails with that. Those are very different.
Yeah. But they still did it though.
But that's what I'm saying. We need more of that. Battlefield has a lot to offer. Call of Duty has a lot to offer.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Why is, there's so much potential and so many new things. Why are you just basically giving us the same shit? It's not that I mean, I'd still love to play a battle royale in Battlefield, but I feel like all these games are focusing on that instead of coming up with some new shit. Call of Duty came out with gun game. They came out. I don't know if other games came out with beforehand. I'm sure somebody did, but Black Ops had one in the chamber. It had
That was a fun mode.
Yeah, it had sticks and stones where you could do crossbows, ballistic knife, and tomahawk. It had gun game, and it has, all kinds of shit that you could do that they just came up with out of nowhere. Battlefield's got all types of different game modes. They got Rush, Conquest, Air Superiority, fucking.
The two big ones that like Call of Duty was famous for, what? Team deathmatch and what domination?
Well, because of the map size and yeah, like basically just how things were, yes. I'd say probably Team Deathmatch and
What do
Free
you
For
think?
All.
Okay, so what are your top two picks for like when you're playing Call of Duty, like that
Mine,
makes you think like that name, like that makes Call of Duty Call of
I
Duty?
would say between, and these are, I would primarily say the ones that I play, but definitely Team Deathmatch and Free For All. I put those in the same space because they're pretty much the same game. It's just one's. I prefer Free For All sometimes over Team Deathmatch just because of spawns. I feel like I can kill Horde better in Free For All than I can in TDM because everyone's stealing my kills. But but yeah, I'd say Team Deathmatch and probably Domination, I guess.
And Battlefield's known for Rush and Conquest.
Yeah, which Conquest is the more massive version of Domination.
Right. And
Uh,
Rush is actually you got to be tactical as well.
yeah, but Rush is very close. I mean, there is an objective other than killing, but I feel like Rush is the real, uh, is like the TDM for Battlefield. The map's smaller and cut off more, and I mean it's Rush. You gotta rush around. You gotta do some shit quickly.
No, well, no. Rush is arming A and B and defending them, attacking them, and you get
Right,
pushed back.
but I mean it is still fast paced. Is it? I mean, is it not? I mean, I feel like it was.
No, it's not.
Okay, okay. That's just what
A
I
good
seen. I didn't play a lot of good
no,
Rush
no,
games.
I know. I could see the argument for the team deathmatch. I could see the argument for that, but that's not it though. Like that's not the good
Okay,
comparison here.
okay. I just don't see a lot of the people that. I feel like your Battlefield players, even you would say like sometimes like don't touch TDM
Oh no,
because
like I never play. The only time I ever played TDM on Battlefield was to get assignments done.
see I would do it to hurry up and rank my gun up so that I could go use it in Conquest. I never wanted to play TDM in that game over Conquest. And Call of Duty maps, there's no reason to ever need a sniper rifle in that game.
No.
There's no range. You could add 3 maps together and you don't have the range you need for a sniper rifle. So, and not only that, you had maps like Shipment and Rust that I could take a piss and my piss will go to the other end of the map.
Mhm.
So, but Battlefield didn't. Battlefield, you could be shooting from one mountain over to the other mountain. But it was incredible. I don't even know if I'm still streaming. I might be streaming. Hey, look, I am streaming. Nobody's watching anymore. Somebody was, but uh oh, what's it called? But yeah. Here's my question. If you could make a first person shooter, whether it's brand new stuff or if you could take the best parts of what exists and just combine them, uh how would you make it? because Call of Duty did that for the China. They made Call of Duty Online, and they just took cool parts of Black Ops, Modern Warfare, all that. They just
So I
remade
would have
maps.
to, and I could pick any first-person shooter game,
You could
or
you
two of any first-person shooter game, combine them to make one good game.
no, you could take anything that you can imagine for a first-person shooter game. It doesn't have to be specifically two games, or if there's something you like about fucking Minecraft that you want to implement into a shooter game, do it. That's what I'm saying. Take anything that you like and forge it into your best FPS. Or
A
or
game like Division.
or third person. You could which you ended up doing, I guess. But I'm saying like you can pick between making the best FPS or the best third person. Just make it a shooter game.
I would,
But
I would like an Assassin's Creed shooter game, honestly. That's third person, I guess.
okay. Well, you can make
Kind of
either or.
Like Assassin's Creed style, with the parkour and whatnot, but the shooting combat of like Wildlands.
Okay. All right. Which I liked. I did like that. I felt that was really cool.
Kind of like modern Assassins compared to like ones in the past. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah, kind of like a Hitman meets type deal.
Like Hitman meets Splinter Cell meets Ghost Recon meets Assassin's Creed.
You really love Ubisoft.
Sponsored by Ubisoft.
Yeah. I love Campbell's Chicken Noodle Soup. Sponsored by Campbell's Chicken Noodle Soup.
They are my second favorite company. First one being BioWare. Um, I just love their games. Like I barely have anything when it comes to like my kind of style games, I really don't have a problem. Like I don't complain a lot about them. I don't
Hmm.
criticize much. Like the crew, like I'm not a racing kind of guy. I used to be. I fucking can't now. And to me, like the first crew was pretty good, and the second one's eh.
See, I
But
never
I
really
just
played the
can't.
first one.
I could play them, but am I into it? No, I'm not into it.
Yeah, I initially was like, I'm not driving this because, for one, it looks cartoony and low quality as fuck, and the driving was just weird. But I don't remember why I re-downloaded it at all. Like honestly, I just
You've been
can't
playing
think.
it a lot.
But yeah, exactly. I've been playing it a shit ton. Uh, but it's also kind of I feel like there's really not another choice. I mean, I liked Drive Club, but there was no customization of vehicles. Uh, and Need for Speed Payback, you had a lot of customization, but I hated the driving. So PS4 also doesn't have Forza. So I felt like the crew is the best one. But yeah, I enjoy it now. You know, got my garage filled up, do a few races, occupy my time. Uh, and again, it is open world too, so that's big. Some of these driving games that are not only zero open world, but you can't even drive on street races. You got to drive on track, and I hate that.
A game Payback?
Well, just certain driving games. Like Drive Club, there's
Oh,
no open world driving, and uh you're on a track, but you're also not on tracks. Like some of them are official racetracks, and some of them are like in the streets. Uh, but games like what was the one? There was one Need for Speed back before I got a PS4. Need for Speed Shift? Need for Speed...
Pro Street?
No, not Pro Street. Well, Pro Street too. I mean, I had fun on Pro Street. But no, there was... No, you're right. There really wasn't street races. There was a Need for Speed that came out later, like... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to think. There was one that came out that was strictly track-oriented.
Did Shift.
Yeah, what was it, Shift?
It was Shift. It was right after... I believe Shift was before... What was one of the other ones that you just named off?
There was Need for Speed Pro Street, Undercover, maybe...
No, Pro Street was the first one that was strictly tracked. Shift was the one after it, and it was like semi.
Right, I'm just saying that, like, Pro Street was pretty much just track only. But Pro Street I enjoyed because it didn't only have racing on track. It had, like, it had drifting and drag and all that other shit.
Oh, okay. So it had a variety of track races.
Right, yeah. So it was still track only. But there was other things to it that I liked. You also had, with the hypercars, you could also do those long races, kind of like in the way that you would do it on Crew, that weren't necessarily on track, I guess. You had those highway battle type things, but I feel like that game did it well, so it didn't really matter. But Shift was like, you had strictly circuit cars that, just had no customization. It was basically like Forza, but not the open world Forza. It wasn't like Horizon where you got to free roam, really. It was like where you just were strictly track. And I don't like that. I like being able... I've spent so many hours and drove so many miles just driving around in the Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting in like a 70s Challenger or just something cool that I like, putting on my Spotify and just fucking driving around like an idiot.
Right.
Did you take a nap?
I think so, yeah. So there's a thing.
So you were up. So here's the thing. You were up.
Anyway. So there's a thing that says Apex Legends is already broken a Fortnite record, reaching 10 million players in 72 hours.
Wow. Not saying that it wouldn't do good, but because it definitely it's free, but it's worth the money. That type of deal, like I feel like it's worth playing. It's pretty solid. But I feel like none of these Battle Royale games would have been as popular if not for Fortnite. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm. Give that kid a pint of Guinness or something. Holy fuck, it's 1:40. Wow.